bro? My name is Nicholas Montez, and you're watching my YouTube channel, Nicholas Montez. Welcome back to another YouTube channel for everybody. I'm so excited to have y'all back here together again. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing a new, well, actually not anything new. We're going to be ranking all of the movies that I saw in September of 2022, but only the retro films because we're doing the new releases later. But now let's talk about the retro films. All 11 of them. Let's get started. Okay, so I never exactly watched any of the after movies, and so I kind of watched this movie without watching any of the other ones, and the way that this movie starts off, it literally introduces this girl with a drunk dad, and then the boyfriend is just so mean to the dad, and they literally have trust issues, but then they keep having, you know what, and, like, they keep arguing, getting relationship problems, and then there's this big reveal at the end, which I don't understand what that meant. And then the mom is cheating on someone that was like she's about to get married. Like, what the hell? What is this movie? This is like such real life drama that just does not make any sense. Like, if this was one of my friends, I would not want to get into this. I personally would not. So, it comes in last place. Now, this is a very weird film, as you basically have Jay and Silent Bob in an animated film, and it focuses on a bunch of these weird superheroes that have like these very adult powers, and if you watch the movie, you know what I mean. And it's a very weird film, but at the same time, it's kind of hilarious. So that's kind of why I like it a little bit, and that's why it's not in last place. But it's overall just a very stupid film, so that's kind of why it's low on the list. Alright, so there's not really much to say about this movie other than that it feels a lot like a classic 1950s live-action Disney film, with the way that it sounds, the way the music sounds, everything, the way it looks and sounds. It just feels like a Disney movie from the 50s and stuff that was live action. And so yeah, that's really how it feels like to me. So yeah, that's my thoughts on The Salt on the Earth. So I decided to watch Dolittle this month, and Dolittle is not that very good of a movie. It's not. It's really not. First off, Hugh Jack, of course, it has some fun going back to that stuff with having all these talking animals. It is, of course, having fun having John Cena and Kumail Nanjiani be this talking ostrich and John Cena be this talking polar bear, and then you got like Selena Gomez as a talking giraffe, and a bunch of the animal characters were pretty fun in here. The gorilla character was pretty fun. The flying squirrel character was cool. So it was overall fine. Robert Downey Jr.'s accent in this film was awful. There were some jokes in here that just did not really work, and the overall story of them going on this adventurous journey to save the Queen of England, kind of a weird plot line, but I'll take it. So it was fun enough, but not my thing though. Not the best thing in the world. If you saw my review for this movie, you already know what my thoughts are on this film. Personally, I just thought that this movie it is a very iconic movie. It has iconic characters, iconic movies. It has a lot of iconic stuff with the action. It's very iconic. The problem here is that it's just part of that overrated category of E.T., Jurassic Park, and Back to the Future, where it was built. This movie was built for people that was born in that time. If people watched it, that were born today and watched it today, they would be like, why does everybody love this film? And that's who I was. Because I was born in 2007 and this movie was released in the 80s. 2 decades before I was born. So, I can definitely understand why I wouldn't like this movie. Also, you don't really get to see the alien until the very end of the movie, where Sigourney Weaver gets into like this big giant suit and she starts punching the guy. I'm like, what? Like, what is this? So, kind of disappointing, but I did kind of like the movie still a little bit. Okay, so I don't actually don't remember much of this movie, to be honest with you, because I only watched it once. But I did remember liking it and that it had a very cool aspect to it. It had some very cool horror vibes. So that's all I'm really going to say. I don't have much to say anymore because I don't really remember much about it, but I did like it though. This is actually one I do remember, and the whole one, this film is actually pretty good. It actually tells a pretty good story. It actually does it with the case it's trying to do. The horror aspect of it was great. I kind of don't remember it a little bit. I can't remember a specific scene, but I did remember liking it, and I really did enjoy it. Now, this film actually set up some pretty cool ideas, as this girl that is gonna babysit these kids, and something just doesn't feel right, as the house is like haunted, and these kids just are kind of being creepy, and the whole vibe of it is just very creepy. And so, I honestly kind of enjoyed this film, but the overall ending point of it just wasn't that all great. So this was a Guy Ritchie film that I watched, and this is actually a pretty good one. First off, Matthew McConaughey I thought was great in this film. I thought some of the action scenes in this movie were pretty cool. The heist sequences were pretty cool, and it was pretty violent. There were some pretty cool comedy bits, and the way that the story was kind of told, I thought was really well done. And it once again, it kind of reminded me a lot like Sherlock Holmes that he did back in the day with Robert Downey Jr. And I thought that was a pretty cool way to tell the story. And there were some flashes of that in Aladdin too. So overall, I actually enjoyed this film, and I don't really have many problems with this film overall. Now, the best thing about this movie is, of course, the horror aspect, the creepiness of it, the whole scenario of it. It just feels creepy, it feels intense, and you buy it. However, when it comes to the characters and the way the story builds up, it's not exactly the most exciting, as these characters has to go to the bathroom, but also is drunk. It's just not the best writing ever. But overall, I thought when it came to the actual concept of the movie, it was great. So I liked this film a lot. Alright, so when this movie started out, I was like, okay, this seems like a pretty cool story, with these type of family and stuff. But then once it introduces the abusive, like, son and boyfriend, I'm like, oh my god, like, this guy is not good. And then there's a case where the woman may have killed the guy, but then you realize he's not actually dead, and then, like, it creates the intensity, and it creates an interesting story with these characters. And overall, I thought the film was great. It has very well acting in it, and yeah, so I thought the film was overall really good. So that's pretty much my ranking of all 11 retro films of September 2022. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All my social media stuff is in the About section over there, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.